Alright folks, welcome to the Scott Show. Welcome to this day in history. I do apologize, there were more noises in the background than I thought when I started the video. So if you guys are wondering what in the world that was our intro. And that's just the way it's going to go, because we're live, folks, and we're going to do it live. I'm not going to pull a Bill O'Reilly and get all mad, because it's live, and we're having fun. And we're doing this whole thing, the Scott Show podcast. Do it up every single morning here. We do the wake-up call at 8 o'clock. We do the This Day in History after. So check out both shows. Check them out a lot. Like, share, subscribe. And we're going to go to This Day in History. It's December 12th. It's the 346th day of the year. I don't sit there and count, folks. This is all from Wikipedia. And there are a few other sites that we got on this day. I think we use that one too. There are 19 days left in the calendar year. And hopefully I feel better for most of them. If you were born this day today, you are a Sagittarius. So we start with a little bit of history. We have the Battle of Nineveh back in 627. 627. Thank God for people writing down history, right? The army, the Byzantine army under Emperor Hierolys, defeats Emperor Khosrow, his Persian forces, in the Battle of Nineveh. In 1884, King Carloman, I love some of these names, Carloman II, because there was a Carloman I, died after a hunting accident. He was succeeded by his cousin, Emperor, and this has got to be just the worst name ever, Emperor Charles the Fat. Why Charles would want that name, I don't understand. But there you go. And Charles the Fat, the last time, reunites the Frankish Empire. So if your name is Frank, you had a whole empire at one point. We move to modern day times. Pennsylvania becomes the second state to ratify the Constitution. 5 days after Delaware did. Delaware is always the first. Mexico officially recognized as an independent nation by the United States in 1822. In 1858, we had the first Canadian coins, the 1 penny, 5, 10, and 20 cents. I've never seen a 20-cent coin in Canada, but I'm going to check that out. And by the way, I have a loonie and a toonie, which are $1 and $2 coins from Canada, because I don't think they have the dollar anymore. They have the loonie, which is a Canadian dollar, which is the coin, not the paper. Excuse me. Delhi replaces Calcutta as the capital of India in 1911. And also in 1911, King George V of the United Kingdom and Mary of Teck are enthroned as the Emperor and Empress of India. 1917 in Nebraska, Father Edward J. Flanagan founds Boys Town as a farm village for wayward boys. There you go. Back in 1939, the Winter War, Finnish forces defeat those Soviet Union forces in their first major victory of the conflict of the Winter War. Also, the HMS Duchess sinks after a collision with the HMS Barham off the coast of Scotland with the loss of 124 men. There were a lot of other things that happened in World War II. I'm going to touch on a few of them, but there are a few of them I will just not talk about. Because it's not a history thing to me. It's just a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. Excuse me. My throat is a little hoarse at this point, a little scratchy. So excuse me for that, but we got to go on with the show, folks. Got to keep this show moving. World War II. The United Kingdom declares war on Bulgaria. Hungary and Romania declare war on the United States. India declares war on Japan. And I declare war on music in 2017. It's terrible. Lots of war. But World War II, 1941, Adolf Hitler also declares the extermination of the Jews at a meeting at the Reich Chancellery. Now, I said that I wasn't going to talk too much about that kind of stuff. And, but this day in history, if anybody ever does find that time machine, today's the day to go back and take care of business. 1942, the German troops begin Operation Winter Storm, an attempt to relieve encircled Axis forces during the Battle of Stalingrad. And like I said, lots of other stuff happened in World War II. We will touch on that, days in history, but we won't touch on everything because they would be here forever. Paula Ackerman, the first woman appointed to perform being a rabbi and the functions of being a rabbi in the United States, leads a congregation in her first services, 1950. 1956, the beginning of the Irish Republican Army's border campaign. 1963, Kenya gains its independence from the United Kingdom. 1983, the Australian Labour government, led by Minister Bob Hawke and Treasurer Paul Keating, floats the Australian dollar. In 1991, the Russian Federation gains its independence from the USSR. In 2000, this was the day that they released their decision on Bush and Gore. The Supreme Court did. Back in 2012, North Korea officially launched its first satellite. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, even on my worst day. Using a rocket. There you go, 2012. North Korea has a satellite. And it's been for, almost like 5 years. So we have a few birthdays today. I want to get to the birthdays. First of all, back in 1298, Albert II, Duke of Austria, was born. Archduke Albert VI of Austria was born, like 120 years later. Go figure. But I just thought that was a cool little thing about the Dukes and Archdukes of Austria, so I want to throw that out there. Frank Sinatra was born this day in 1915. Bob Barker, he's a cool guy. 1923, he was born. 1940, Dionne Warwick was born. 1957, Sheila E. 1962, Mike Golick was born that day. On the Mike and Mike show. And big-time football player. Hoist Gracie was born in 1966. Jennifer Connelly from that great movie A Beautiful Mind, and I know she did a lot of other stuff, including Labyrinth. I remember that one too. Regina Hall was born this day, 1970, same day. Hank Williams III was born in 1972. Tony Williams, Australian and Tongan rugby league player, born in 1988. And I just got to give him a shout out. Shout out to Tony Williams. Happy birthday. You're awesome. And deaths on this day. Excuse me. There's a few really good ones, and I want to get those out there. First of all, in 894, Guy III, the King of Italy and Holy Roman Emperor, died this day in 894. That means there was a Guy the First and Guy the Second. Who knew? Geoffrey, who was an English archbishop and politician, Lord Chancellor of England, died in 1212. Joan of Portugal, Queen of Castile, died in 1485 or 1475. Frederick I, Elector Palatine, died in 1476. Philip II, the Metropolitan of Moscow, died in 1569. Philip II. In 1803, Prince Frederick Adolf from Sweden died. In 1843, William I of the Netherlands died. I mean, these are historical figures. And we just got a few more. They're all from this century now. Go figure. Peter Boyle, American actor and really funny guy, died this day in 2006. Ike Turner, singer-songwriter, died in 2007. Tom McLaughlin died at 2013. He was really funny and I like the guy. And Norman Britwell, who created Clifford the Big Red Dog, died this day, 2014. There are also some holidays that are going on all across this world. Constitution Day in Russia. Croatian Air Force Day in Croatia. Ground Forces Day in the Ukraine. Jamboree Day in Kenya. And Kenji Day in Japan. So lots of really cool things going on. That is our day in history. We'll be back tomorrow with more history for all you history buffs. And thank you for listening to the Scott Show podcast. Sorry about my voice. I'll try to be a little bit more. I'll get better. I will get better. And you keep listening to the Scott Show podcast, and we'll see you here real soon. Enjoy.